Hello, fans. This is Sal Rough Cuts with another quick cut on this Friday the 13th. And on this Friday the 13th, quick cut part 2, I want to talk about the debauchery of the New York Knicks. I want to talk about the biggest embarrassment in professional basketball and maybe in professional sports, the New York Knickerbockers. You fire a coach, Tom Thibodeau, who took you to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 25 years, and you don't even have a guy in place to take the job. You don't have a guy in place. 5 coaches turned him down so far. I thought from the very beginning Mike Malone was the guy. I thought Mike Malone was going to be hired. That this is Dolan's going to say, I'm going to bring in Mike Malone, that's going to be it. I haven't heard even boo about Mike Malone. Jeff Van Gundy, Mark Jackson, all want the job. Nothing. I mean, Tom Thibodeau's fate was sealed in Game 1 of the Finals. They had a 17-point lead. They blew that, and they blew a 9-point lead towards the end. I mean, you can't do that on home court in the Finals. Indiana is just a better team. But the Knicks were a higher seed, but the Indiana Pacers were a better team. The problem is the Knicks have no bench. Okay, Tom's hand was forced. You can blame Tom all you want, but Tom's hand was forced. Teams like Indiana, Oklahoma have a bench. They have a deep bench that they can go to. Tom doesn't have a deep bench. He didn't have it. He has to run his starters out there. And the inconsistency of Brunson and Towns and the injuries all season long, McBride, Hart, too much inconsistency. The fact is the Knicks did not beat anybody of playoff caliber in the regular season, and they beat a depleted Boston Celtics in the semifinal. They beat Detroit. Let me tell you something about the Detroit Pistons for a moment. This is a young team on the rise, and this team is going places. This team may win a title before the Knicks do. This team may win a title before the Knicks do. Because they have consistency at the coaching staff, they have a bench, they have a solid core, they are going to be a threat. They're getting better. But you know what I find even more embarrassing about being a New York Knick? Is that the Knicks and the New York Rangers combined in the last 52 years, they have only won one title each. The Knicks haven't won it since 73. The Rangers haven't won it since 94. What an embarrassment to the city and sports world and professional basketball and in hockey that the Knicks and Rangers have only won one title each, 2 combined in 52 years. And the Knicks haven't won since 73. And the Knicks haven't been to the finals in 25 years. At least the Rangers have been to a couple of finals. And they went to the Cup, and they had a chance to play for the Cup in 2014 with Henrik Lundqvist in net, and they lost to Jonathan Quick. And that Ranger team had no defense. They had no answer for the Los Angeles Kings. But they did make it. The Knicks haven't played for a championship. This was their first finals in 25 years. You fired a coach. James Dolan is clueless. If you don't think James Dolan is clueless on how to run the Knicks and Rangers, I mean, this doesn't answer. I don't know what will. Someone messaged me and said, well, you know what? If the circus wants to come to town, then why don't they just bring in Becky Hammond to run the organization? I'm like, let me tell you something. Becky Hammond will never coach the New York Knicks. James Dolan, there is no chance with Dolan is going to ever let her coach that team. If Becky Hammond's ever going to end up in the NBA coaching, she is going to end up coaching maybe the Charlotte Hornets, okay, the Washington Wizards, the Utah Jazz, one of those teams. A team with no expectations. A team with no expectations at all whatsoever. A team that's young, without much veteranship, they need some leadership, and that might respond to her basically to sell tickets and draw some interest. But she is not coaching the Knicks. So what do the Knicks do from here? I thought Mike Malone was signed, sealed, and delivered. You fired Thibodeau, you're going to bring in Mike Malone. He won an NBA championship, but he lost that locker room. He lost the locker room. He only had one title with Nikola, with Djokovic. So one championship, what does that tell you? So what are you left with? Jeff Van Gundy will come back to New York. I don't think Dolan wants him. I think they ended really, really bad. Mark Jackson, these kind of guys are no different than Tom Thibodeau. They are old school, disciplinarian, tough guys. But the problem is the Knicks have no bench. You have no bench. When you don't have a bench and you have injuries constantly to your rotation and games missed, you're not going to win much. The Knicks beat a depleted Celtics team. And they beat a Detroit team that's not very experienced yet, but by next year, I'm telling you, the Detroit Pistons will be a higher seed than the New York Knicks. Guaranteed. And I tell you this, Cleveland's going to come back all angrier than ever. So the Celtics will retool. Jason Tatum is not going to go down like this. So that's 2. Detroit's 3. Indiana is not going anywhere. They're in the finals. They're solid set. That's 4. The Knicks are between a 5 and an 8 seed. If they fall to the 7th, they got to play in a play-in tournament. Good luck, whoever takes over this team. So who would I pick? If I was going to pick and say, hey, look, if you could pick your head coach, if you were James Dolan right now, if you were James Dolan and you were owning the Knicks and you said, who would you bring in right now to bring in the coach the Knicks? I would go after and I would give Jeff Van Gundy another shot. Jeff Van Gundy understands New York. He understands the media. His defense with the Clippers was right up there. The team fell apart in the end. But you're going to have to give Jeff Van Gundy a bench. You're going to have to give him more than what he currently has. I have nothing against Mark Jackson. He was a former Knick. I have nothing against Jackson. But I would feel that Jeff Van Gundy's already been here. He's done it. He understands it. He can take the weight off the players, but he's going to hold accountability. One of these guys is going to hold accountability. But you're going to have to give a bench. You're not going to win with the current bench, and you're going to have to do something about it. If you don't, you're going to be around the 5 to 8 seed. You'll probably get into a plane. You may get bumped out. I don't see it any other way. I would hire Jeff Van Gundy because he was here over Mike Malone and over Mark Jackson. Jason Kidd was not going to win with this group. I'm telling you right now, Jason Kidd would not get the job done in New York. Jason Kidd will be gone in 2 years. Jason Kidd will not win in New York. I'm telling you, he will not win with this group. Is Van Gundy or Mark Jackson any better? I'm just saying, from what we can see, I feel that Jeff Van Gundy is a better fit, personally. A better fit to handle the situation. Jason Kidd was already with the Nets. I understand. I don't feel that he is the right fit for this group. I think the pressure will be off of him in Dallas. They'll get the number 1 pick. They get back a healthy Anthony Davis. They're still not going to be much better off, but I think they'll be better than what they're showing. But we'll see. But I think if I was going to hire someone, I'm going to hire Jeff Van Gundy. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hire Jeff Van Gundy. That's what I would do. There was rumblings and talks about, do you bring in Kevin Durant into New York? Look, Kevin Durant has been a cancer wherever he's gone. He has worn out his welcome no matter where he's gone. But would it be a nice fit with Durant, Towns, and Brunson healthy? Not be a bad idea. How about maybe bringing in Russell Westbrook? How about Russell Westbrook coming in? I would honestly, I think Russell Westbrook would be a better fit than Kevin Durant because Russell can come off the bench, give you minutes, give you cohesiveness, and solidify that backcourt, which is what the Knicks need. I would like to, instead of spending money on Durant at 37, 38, who's not going to win you a title, and it's just going to be another circus and another drama queen, I would rather bring in Russell Westbrook as the 6th man. And that could help the bench. I wouldn't start him, but he's good for about 25 to 28 minutes off the bench. A good 25 to 28 minutes, night in and night out, off the bench, stays healthy. I think he would be a better fit. And that way then you got a starting point there. You have that sixth guy, and then you go from there what you need to do. I wouldn't start him, but I would put him off, come off the bench 25, 28 minutes a night. And he would be healthy enough, strong enough to go deep enough for the playoffs to make a run. That's what the Knicks need. Not Kevin Durant. You're going to have a circus all season. I would not bring in Kevin Durant. But if I'm the coach, if I'm an owner, I'd say Jeff Van Gundy. But I would guarantee it, at least 3 years. At least 3 years, you fire me, you're paying me, kind of deal. I would bring in Jeff Van Gundy. I would bring in Jeff Van Gundy, and I would take Russell Westbrook. I would take Russell Westbrook in a heartbeat. They were talking about maybe bringing in Giannis. Giannis is not leaving Milwaukee. He's already building homes and doing things out there. It's not going to happen. It would help New York. Look, you get a caliber like you get Giannis in there. Yeah, you can get a real, absolutely. No arguments there. You're getting a real, but the Knicks would have to give up the farm to get him. Yes, he's due to opt out next year. He's due to opt out. His contract's coming up. If he doesn't going to want to resign, Milwaukee's going to want to try to get something back. Not going to let him walk for nothing. Possibly. I don't think that the Knicks are going to be able to, if you want to come back to the Eastern Finals or make a deep run. I mean, what are you going to do? What are you going to give? Yeah, you're going to give for one, but you've got to have the Knicks are going to have to give up too much, and you're going to have to ensure that he's going to sign a mega deal. So you're going to sign him and then bring in Durant? You can't have both. You're not going to get both players. Absolutely not. That's impossible. The Knicks, in no way are you going to bring Giannis, Durant, and then you're going to have Towns and Brunson. There's just no way. All four ball hogs. I mean, forget it. Not going to happen. It's got to be one or the other. I say neither. It's not going to happen. You're not going to get Giannis. I wouldn't go after Durant. I'd bring in Russell Westbrook and see what else is out there on the market. The team is not going to win unless you develop that bench. And I think, as I said, Russell will be the perfect fit to come off the bench, but you still don't have a coach. I say bring in Jeff Van Gundy. I bring back Jeff Van Gundy, guaranteed 3 years. Guaranteed 3 years, bring him back. Now, nothing to lose. You don't have a head coach. Everybody else has turned you down. No one wants to deal with Dolan, no one wants to deal with Leon. You think Jeff Van Gundy is going to put up with it? No, he's not, and that's probably what we're not seeing is that why we haven't heard anything, because Malone and Jackson and Jeff Van Gundy probably don't want to hear the nonsense. They're going to run the team the way they want to run it. They have the experience and knowledge to know what they need. You're going to make me go shop, and I'm buying the groceries as well. I'll just give you the bill and you pay the bill. That's what it's going to be. Dolan feels I'll shop, I'll buy it, I'll cook it, and you eat it. And Van Gundy, Jackson, and Malone are not those type of coaches. No. They're going to want to do the shopping, and they'll send you the bill. And they're going to cook it. And you don't like it, don't eat. So that's where I stand on it. I would hire Van Gundy. I would bring in Russell Westbrook. I would pass on Durant. If you're not mortgaging the farm for Giannis, and if the compensation is reasonable, I would consider it. But I don't think Milwaukee's going to do anything unless they know for sure that they can't re-sign it, but it definitely won't be for the upcoming season. But I will say this. And Charles Barkley said it the other night on TNT. He said it on ESPN. He said it best. The Knicks are the biggest embarrassment and a joke of a franchise in the history of professional sports. For a franchise that has only had one title in 52 years, and they've made their first final in 25 years in the state of New York, is an embarrassment. And this is because of James Dolan. And also, Dolan owns the Rangers. And the Rangers haven't played for the Cup since 2014. They made the finals, but they still got blown out, and look at them now. That's embarrassing for this. As much as you want to not hate on George Steinbrenner, at least George Steinbrenner brought championships. George Steinbrenner brought championships to the New York Yankees. Say what you want. He brought championships. The New Yorkers, you got championships in baseball under Steinbrenner. The Yankees won consistently and win consistently year in and year out and are always contending. Can't say that about the Knicks and Rangers. Can't say that. The Rangers folded this season. The Rangers season was over. The Yankees are always there, whether they blow it in the postseason or not, but they're still there. The Rangers didn't even make the postseason. And I'll say it one last time. Tom Thibodeau blew the game one against Indiana at home, blew a 17-point lead, a 9-point lead with 2 minutes left still going in the game, and that cost him his job. And that was it. This was Dolan's move. It was Leon. It don't matter. It came from the management. It came from management. And you didn't have a plan in place. You thought you were going. Dolan assumed that he was going to get Jason Kidd because Dallas was going to move on from Jason. Well, guess what? Dallas realized, you know what? Jason Kidd's in demand. I'm not going to get rid of him. We got the number one pick. I'm going to take the kid out of Duke. I'm going to get a healthy Anthony Davis. I'm going to roll the dice. I'm going to see what I got. Jason Kidd ain't going anywhere. Check my word for it. There are about 10 teams calling for Jason Kidd, trust me. But Jason Kidd will not win in New York. He will not win, let me say that. He will not win with this group with the Knicks. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. He will not be able. Is Van Gundy going to be better? Van Gundy may or may not be better, but it just would be my pick personally. Because Van Gundy was the head coach, and he's not going to put up with any nonsense either. He's not going to kiss Dolan's ass. He's going to say, that's fine. I'm going. No matter who Dolan hires, the coach is going to be like, I'll send you the bill, but I'm cooking. And you don't like it, you're not going to eat. And this is really it's going to come down to egos. But the Knicks need a coach. The Knicks need a bench. And I've said it. Russell Westbrook would be the perfect fit for the bench to help and give you that 25 to 28 minutes a night. That would be a fit. That's what you need to go after. That's what you need to go after. Honestly, that's who I think you need to help you. Is it going to win you a championship? I don't know, because we don't, games are not won and lost on paper. But it's a start. And that's what I would go. So, for this edition on Quick Cuts, Part 2 on Friday the 13th, may all your matches, may all your games be winners. And I'll be back with another Quick Cuts before you know it. Happy Friday the 13th. Remember, today is Jason Voorhees' birthday. That's right, Friday the 13th. Oh, and just before I go, remember, Jason, acronym, July, August, September, October, November. Pretty cool, huh? Have a good one, fans. See you next time. Be safe, be well. May God be with you.